So we're looking at tomorrow's papers with Joe Phillips and Tony Grew. And, Tony, do you want to take us to the Times?
Yeah,
the Justice Secretary closing 6 prisons, so it says.
Yeah, 5,000 cells, 10,000 jobs in England and Wales. That's an important thing to note as well. This is just an England and Wales policy. These things are devolved into the regions, you know, so we talk about these things in the Westminster context. They don't apply to the whole of the UK. This is a big story, and it's going to be one of the big ideological tests of the new coalition government, because Ken Clarke is an old-style, one-nation Tory, thinks that we lock too many people up, thinks we should have a different justice system. That goes against the instincts of his party, and to be honest with you, we talked about the new intake of MPs. A lot of them are quite right-wing Thatcherites, so this is going to be a bit of I wouldn't say it's going to be a hard sell, but there's a lot of discontent in the party, just instinctively against the idea of closing prisons and locking up fewer people.
So we've heard for such a long time, haven't we, that we need to build more prison places, prison ships, and all the rest
But
of
we've
it.
also heard for such a long time that prison doesn't work. Yeah. So, you know, this is a twofold thing, isn't it? Yeah. Save money, and let's try and find something sensible that works, you know, to get people going away from crime.
Don't we need to find the solution, the next sort of thing to try out before we start shutting prisons?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, as Tony says, I think it is going to be difficult. I think the Mail and the Express are going to be up in arms in quite a lot of the Tory... I mean, they don't like Ken. And there are a lot of people who don't like Ken for lots of reasons.
If they don't like Ken, they certainly do not like the policy, and I think this is going to be a real test for David Cameron. Can you stand up to the Mail and the Express?
But it's a very, very good thing for the Labour Party, because they can't criticise it.
Yeah, but the point about this is this shows you how far right draconian the Labour Party have become, that the Conservative Party now come in and poses the Civil Liberties Party and say this is ridiculous, look how many people are on short sentences, the prison numbers have doubled in this country. You know, that's a really, really stark legacy of Labour.
Control orders.
Yes, well, we'll see.
Then we'll see.
Well, indeed. Actually, that highlights my point, though, about this. I mean, because the whole issue with control orders is now the sort of saying, you know, we want, even the people who've been very opposed to them, saying we want to get rid of these, but we can't do it until we've got another system in place.
Yeah. It is very difficult.
Interesting times, love it all. Let's talk football, Tony.
Really, my specialist subject. This story, can I point out, this story's got nothing to do with football. It's actually about the courts. A Premier League footballer is to be unmasked, is the word that the Express used, after a High Court judge ruled yesterday that he had no right to anonymity. We've had a few of these stories knocking about in the last 12 months. Footballer does bad thing, papers find out, footballer gets injunction against paper, it rolls on. I think what this one shows is that it doesn't work for all of them or for any of them, and it also leads into this, you know, this argument that the law is about 20 years behind where it should be. I mean, whoever this footballer is, and I don't actually know, but I know it would take me about 3 or 4 seconds to find out on the internet, and I think that shows how there's only a certain part of the media that you can shut down in this way.
Exactly, exactly. And he's got 2 weeks, whoever this bloke is.
Well, I'm sure it's out there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the point. You know, what's the point of all of this expensive super injunctions and things when, as you say, it will be on the internet?
But some of the stuff you get on the internet, particularly about footballers, as we've seen,
absolutely,
and wags and all the rest of it, we know has not been true. There's been lots of allegations made about affairs with sisters when people haven't got sisters and all this sort of thing.
Absolutely shocking stuff.
But it's all, I mean, it's injunctions and then these super injunctions, of course, where you can't report that there is an injuncction, which causes outrage.
But, you know, I mean, this is not WikiLeaks we're talking about. This is probably somebody who's been doing something they shouldn't have been doing with somebody they shouldn't have been doing it with.
And it also brings into question absolutely, but, you know, it also brings into question what we were talking about earlier, celebrity culture. Who cares what footballers... Obviously, footballers misbehave. They're massively overpaid young men with high libidos and very little to do. You know, to me, that's part of the stuff of life.
Well, I don't care what they do on the pitch. I couldn't care less what they do out of it.
But that's the problem. But that is the issue, isn't it? That people do care to the point that, you know, you get these on the front page, the papers fly off the shelves.
Yeah, of course they do.
So it's... I mean, should we, you know, at what point, it's an unfashionable thing to say, but at what point should we start to say you need to respect their privacy and their private lives, even if they are doing things which we may not approve of?
Well, we've got to stop saying that they're role modelled. You know, they're footballers.
That's exactly
it's ridiculous. Why do we expect them to do stuff that we don't expect of rock stars, musicians, actors, you know, TV personalities? I'm looking at you. You are a role model, obviously.
Well, to young people across the country, of course. But nowadays, people look up to X Factor contestants as role models. I think the whole thing has got a bit...
I don't even know who's in X Factor.
Well, that's because you're a woman of taste. But, you know, it has really got out of hand when people like Wayne Rooney or who children are looking up to and saying, that's what I want to be like when I grow up, and not like Steve Dixon from the Sky News.
Why would you want to be like Wayne Rooney?
Well,
I know. You might say you don't know who's on X Factor, Joe, but I know we haven't had time to look at it. But I know you were looking at Wagner on the front of the Mirror.
I know, and not with lust in my heart. I can tell you.
confused.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's tough stuff. I did watch him last week, actually.
Did you?
It was on... I closed
Why?
it. And
What happened? Remote control got stuck.
It wasn't a pleasure.
We're surprised he's not one of your celebrity friends already.
What, Wagner?
I don't think so.
No, afraid not. Let's talk about cheese, because I have to say, confession, I love cheese.
So we've just discovered.
So I might have to move to Ireland, according to The Guardian.
Right. Yeah.
This is a lovely story.
It is a lovely story. That there is actually a very sad element to it. Basically, Ireland's facing horrific cuts, much worse than here in the UK, and backed by funds from the European Union, the Irish government is going to buy up 53 tonnes of fresh Irish cheddar and distribute it via collection centres across Ireland. It is a funny story, but it also points to the fact that what was the Celtic Tiger is now a country where they have some really deprived citizens. There's going to be some serious poverty in Ireland, and some of the charities that work there, the St Vincent de Paul is a charity that does amazing work in Ireland. You know, they mention here that half the calls that they've been getting are now about food and energy, so Irish people are going to be suffering even more than their friends here.
I mean, it is terrifying, Joe, actually. As I was trying to say on a serious note, just how Ireland has just gone from hero to zero economically.
Yeah. So quickly, so quickly. And you can't help but wonder why. I mean, there was something the other day in the papers about the property prices that were just astronomical.
It's a housing boom.
Yeah, but it's a sort of like, did nobody actually...
No, I meant that's all it was built on.
I know.
And I was in...
Well, it wasn't. It was built on a lot of European money as well.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have to... we can just continue this a little bit later on. We're going to have to leave it for now, I'm afraid. Thank you both, Joe, Tony. We've got the weather coming up.